Did y'all hear
The
the story
Cisco
about
Salon couch.
did y'all hear the story about Tyson not liking the thong song?
What?
No. What was that?
Cisco was at a party. Cisco was at a
In what
party and
world does
Tyson was
that come
there.
up where Mike Tyson is talking about the thong song?
I don't.
I like
No,
your
no, no.
song song.
I don't think Tyson. I don't think Tyson didn't tell a story. It was someone else,
Song song.
and they said, and I think he was talking to Cisco, and Cisco was like, "Is he looking over here?" And he was like, "Yeah, he's still looking over here." And he said he don't like the thong song at all.
The thong
But
thong.
you,
Welcome to the Breaks Radio.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of The Breaks Radio. I am one of your hosts, CEO Haize, and I'm joined by the squad, the team. First up is Miss Mary Almonte. What's going on?
Cough, cough.
Oh, man, Mary's recovering. She's hanging in there. The fact that she's still here, she's a trooper. We also got Mr. BTG, Baylor the Great. What's up, bro?
another day, another dollar.
Then the red wine connoisseur himself, Marquis.
Up in this bitch.
All right, so we are for peek behind the scenes. This show is either going to be complete hilarity or we're just all going to be off our game. We're recording much later than what we usually do, but it is what it is. I wish we could start off on a high note, but we do have to start off on a bit of a somber note. DMX has been reported to be in a vegetative state after a drug overdose. Also came out today that he also has COVID while he's dealing with all of this. And this is really sad, especially being this soon after the verses, where that was like one of the most lively I've ever seen DMX. He was dancing and everything, and like his prayer, and then like to come to this, and somebody who has been open about his battle with drugs. It sucks that this is where we're at now. But Mary, I'll come to you first. What's your reaction? What are your thoughts? Say any good words about DMX? Go ahead.
Man, I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't been able to really stop thinking about him since the news broke. I feel like the culture can't lose him right now. Like, we can't lose him. He has to pull through. I don't know. I mean, listen, he made his struggles, he had a hard life, and he made his struggles very public and inspired so many people through his music, in his openness about it. I mean, it is unfortunate to kind of see him or hear that this was like drug induced. Given that when we, like you mentioned, the verses, right? Like, he actually looked good at the verses. Like, everyone was noting how he actually had put on some weight.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be indicative of him not being, on drugs anymore. So, it seemed like he was turning a corner, and it really sucks that this is what's happening. And I don't know. I just, and regardless, he's a legend for hip hop and the culture and our generation for sure. So this is just really a loss right now with him being in this kind of state of limbo. So
Definitely, Baylor.
Yeah, man. It's kind of weird when I come home and every time I come to the crib, the wife is asking me, do you get any updates on DMX and stuff like that? Because, again, that's a legend that we grew up off of. It's he's one of the like locked in stories of, one of my, not one of my first albums, but the journey of going to get, and then there was X, like in the rain in December, going to pick that album up. Um, and even at one point, at least I did, I considered him going for the crown at one point, you know. So yeah, that's tough. Mary said it right though. I just don't think, and we're never ready for this. But like, yo, we definitely not ready for this one.
Yeah.
It's almost like 2021 is like, well, let me catch up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Marquis.
I'm gonna add to that. Bailey, you're absolutely right. DMX could have been the greatest rapper of all time. At that point in hip hop, he was one of the most respected. He was street, he was hood, he was a gentleman, thug, whatever you want to call it. But lyrically, he was on point with the first album. I don't know if the hype built up so much it led to a bunch of albums that were, mediocre. But yeah, he was right there. the one thing we got to recognize, two things. This drug culture is serious. Like, how many times do we find, these rappers, anybody overdosing on drugs, or in the culture right now is still kind of putting it on a pedestal, like, oh, this is what we should be doing. Let's, sip some lean and stuff like that. But three, battling those demons are real. I know we all know somebody who's gone through it with drugs or something, but just imagine the life he had to live where he needed to escape and chase that demon and down that rabbit hole. Like, that's real. That shit is real. You know what I mean? Psychologically, the mind just needs and desires an escape, to put something in your body so you can escape whatever it is. You know what I mean? So it comes down to who are the people in your corner. I know he had a lot of support, and I know there's a lot of speaking of, we're gonna help DMX and everything. We're gonna get him to rehab, but I don't know. What do we do? How do you help someone like that? And I know it's not just DMX. We're speaking on DMX because he's going through right now, but how do you help people that are addicted to drugs, and especially to where it gets to this point?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing that always made DMX special was that he didn't hide the demon. Whereas a lot of rappers, they don't talk about the demons. Like he that darkness. I mean, he was the dark man. Like it was at the forefront of his whole career, and it like DMX was special for many different reasons. And the fact that, like, if this is to be where it ends or whatever, like, regardless, like it's just. It sucks because you want that triumph story, right? You want the to keep the image of, like, he beat all these demons, and it doesn't feel good. And like Mary said, I haven't been able to stop thinking about him since the news dropped, and it's something that's just, it's wearing on everybody right now. If you look at the timeline, like, at least on mine, people are tweeting their favorite DMX songs, still randomly saying prayers for him, and it speaks to how much he meant to the culture.
Agreed. This is gonna be a hard episode. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a very stressful episode for me.
I bet. And I mean, we're gonna try to pick the energy back up and move on. But before we do, is there anything else anyone wants to say about DMX before we try to get into different news?
Let's say a prayer. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, let's go ahead. No, you're good. You're good, man. We're all sleepy. But so the next one, the next thing on this list is Cameron and his Drink Champs interview. Has anyone got to see this interview in this episode?
That was a phenomenal episode.
The best episode of Drink Champs ever. And the most open that I've ever heard Cameron talk. Like the stories that he told, like about, like, being petty with Jay-Z. Yeah, that's funny and stuff. But even talking about, like, how, like, just the inner workings of Rockefeller, and, like, it's stuff that we've never seen before. Him talking about the tension with kind of everyone. We always look at that Rockefeller era like they were the cream of the cream at one point in time, but it seems like that machine was always destined to fail by the way that it was set up. But I really did love hearing the interview. Go ahead, Baylor. What else did you get out of it?
I mean, just the fact that even throughout the breakups and the things like that, the rumors and stuff, it just seemed like the culture or the hood was still siding with Cam. You know what I mean? Even in his own backyard with the Dipset camp, it was like, yo, we on Cam's side. For whatever reason it was, and the way he broke down each story, and and Noriega was just trying to get him wasted.
Yeah,
but you didn't have to, though. Like he said, you didn't have to, because Cam was spilling all the beans anyway. He gave us exactly what we wanted to hear. We couldn't wait till he got to the state prop time period, when Jay took over, to Dame Dash and all that. So it was like I said, when I looked at, I think it was almost 3 hours, or something like that, or it was 3 hours. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna finish this in a couple of days, but I'm gonna finish it though.
The two things that I like the most out of this is him talking about his relationship with Mace. Him even saying that he was proud when Mace dropped the Oracle disc, because Mace had been standing on the sidelines kind of taking jabs for so long that he was glad that Mace stood up for himself. And then the story where he talked about how they almost jumped Lawrence Fishburne was fucking I
Yeah,
I need to
that
see
was different.
Dave Chappelle needs to bring back the true Hollywood stories, and they need to reenact that shit ASAP because that was. Imagine if they would have done that and it would have made the news that of all people, Lawrence Fishburne got jumped by Dipset.
Yeah, that was different. Especially when they acknowledged that Joel Santana definitely was the one who got better over time.
Exactly, which
You
he
know what I
did.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, he actually did because early on it was
I
kind of
mean
rough.
Jim got better over time too because I remember when I first started
All
hearing Jim rap, I used to be like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
right, yeah, and but with Cam, I just thought I think Cam just went from being like real good to like legendary status. You know what I mean? Like, because at one point I didn't even care for him to drop an album. It's like just let me hear you featured on something.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But his business mindset though was crazy.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? We knew that they were getting in other things, but the fact that how he broke it down and what he said, and he even said it like, look, Jim had an idea, but if I wasn't available, like if it's gonna make us money, it's not hurting the brand, go ahead and do it. I'm gonna sign on with it. You know what I mean? So the business mind was crazy when he broke down like the little riff and raps, the beef between them and state property, them wanting to know why he had an office, but when he broke it down, he was like, bro, that was just a closet.
yeah,
It was just an empty closet, and we just took it over. You know what I mean? So yeah, the details was dope.
yeah, yeah. Marquis.
I didn't see it yet.
Oh man, you're missing
I
gold.
didn't see it yet.
This is the as a creative, this is the type of interview I pray I get out of somebody one day.
I would say this. I would say this. This one and the dog pounding genuine one.
Yeah,
Only
yeah,
because Noriega didn't know that there was tension
yeah,
between the two at the time.
yeah,
That was classic.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Mary, what did you think? Did you get a chance to watch it?
Nope. So y'all just made me really want to, though.
I know.
Well,
I ain't gonna
yeah,
lie. I'm like, oh shit, I want to see this.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a and keep in mind, I've always said Drink Champs is one of the celebrity podcasts that I hate to listen because the interviews, like the celebrities that show up for it, they come prepared to really open up and talk. But the sound quality is, and Noriega is such a fucking terrible host that it takes me
Yeah.
out of it most times. But Outgate made it through all of that. I listened to all 3 hours, probably over the course of about 4 or 5 hours, but in the most part for one sitting. It was the most entertaining thing I think I've ever seen as far as a celebrity podcast.
And the sad part is like to piggyback off of Hayes, it could have been better. But because they always have some weird shit in the background and Noriega always cut niggas off. He
Man, he
always
is
cutting cats
terrible with
off.
that.
But I
Wait,
will
so
say
wait.
this though. He does ask the questions that we really want though.
True.
He
True.
said that So Dipset said that they were the first to make the mixtapes, the artist mixtapes.
They did. He did say that, which I disagree with that
I disagree with it too.
wholeheartedly. Unless they release some shit that just because I'm not in on the East Coast that I'm not aware of, but like at least the
Wait,
first.
I thought he said they were the first to turn their mixtapes into like albums.
No, he was saying that they were the first to release artist centered mixtapes.
Oh yeah. You're right. Well, they did have I mean, that roster was crazy.
Yeah, but I mean,
Nobody had a roster like that at the time.
at least to my
Like
memory,
what?
I still remember Wayne 50 doing it way before Dipset started doing the artist release mixtapes.
But they had a lot more artists than them.
True, no, I understand that, but I mean
And then,
to
and
say
then they had a
that
lot of more
the
artists
first.
that came after them.
True, but I'm saying to say that for him to say that Dipset was the first to have an artist led mixtape, I personally remember people before. Hell, even
Kid Capri,
Chameleonaire
DJ
was
Clue.
dropping. Go ahead.
Kid Capri, DJ Clue were the first to bring artists on mixtapes and bring them to life like that,
But
right?
no, that's the difference. He's saying
No.
artist led,
Right.
meaning no DJ.
No. Here's what I'm saying. That's where it started. From there, that's when D Block, the Locks, and the rest of them. I think 50 of them were right after Cam. 50 made it big, but Wayne was right there too with Master P and the rest of them.
Why I said 50 is because 50 was releasing mixtapes even before he got on, before he got big.
Yeah, absolutely. But this
So
was Cam came out in not like late '90s, like '96, '97, right after Mace. G Unit was dropping mixtapes around 2000, 2001. That's when they started dropping theirs. That's when they were
Yeah,
doing like Wu Tang covers and stuff like that.
but I don't think Cam would. But was Cam saying like the whole squad though? And as far as Master P, they was dropping albums.
But a lot of it was, well, yeah, since they were underground albums, not. But they were like in the back of the trunk kind of mixtapes, weren't they?
No, nigga, I went to the store about those albums.
The original Master P albums, not just the ones he started
Fiend,
selling.
Fiend, me and X, Mercedes, the Gambino twins, all those were albums.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
now,
I mean,
I thought Cam was saying like all my artists was putting out mixtapes.
no, he was saying it from a place of without being hosted by a DJ.
Right, and then after that came K Slay.
So, but he had the clout to do it because he dropped an album and then he brought his crew on.
His crew on
that didn't get signed. He was already a high profile or a pretty high profile artist by the time he was bringing it. Because remember the whole Jim, Me Too, the whole Jim Jones Me Too thing. Okay,
Yeah.
if he says he was,
y'all just gotta hear the story about how the nigga Jewels was in the back seat because he said he didn't want to meet him, but the nigga took a nap and woke up and Jewels was in the back seat, so he was like, fuck it.
Listen, there's so much in this that needs to be recreated as skits. Like this whole fucking episode. I can't wait till you guys watch it.
And Cam, and this is the cool part about it. Cam can do that though. All his stories, Cam is bring to life himself.
Cam has always been the most animated and one of the most entertaining people in music. Period.
Yeah,
like
we
his interview
need to talk about where he's at in hip hop. We can
have that conversation one day. I could put that in there for next week. Mary, you've been quiet for a while. Is there anything else you want to say about like the whole mixtape thing before we move on?
No, but I definitely agree with your statement that he's been one of the most animated characters in hip hop. He's also an Aquarius. I'm all about my zodiac, so we tend to be that way. So yeah, but I'm excited to watch it. So we'll have to report back.
And his relationship with Big L.
Definitely.
That was it right there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I met him with Inspector Deck during the Puerto Rican Day Parade like years ago. They were just cool. I didn't know they were cool with each other though. They were just chilling with each other.
That's what's up.
And niggas was on the block, so real niggas when they on the block. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
I love that.
But all right, let's move into what a lot of people were probably waiting for us to talk about. This Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind, and Fire versus. Who wants to take this one away first? Because there was some shit. First of all, I don't want to take it first. I've talked first already. Who wants to take this one first?
No, go ahead. I want to hear.
I kind of want you to. Yeah.
Okay. So somebody needed to rein Steve Harvey the fuck in because there were so many times where it felt like he wanted to make his life the story when you're sitting up there amongst legends. And like I feel like he started off very well talking about like how many platinum records they have and how that compares like people nowadays. He started off very well, but as the night went on, it seemed like he wanted to get his in. Like, and it's like, bro, are you going rogue? Like somebody needs to shut off it, take his mic away. And that's why like that's really my only negative from that. Everything else of the night, fucking spectacular, other than the fact it went on for 4 hours, and I'm sure at least an hour and a half of that was Steve Harvey fucking talking. So like I would love to see like, well, I'm sure there's probably a breakdown of how long that versus was without Steve Harvey. And then they had a really big interlude too. Like they originally said they were going to be gone for 10 minutes, and then I feel like DJ Nice was spinning for like 40 minutes too. So like there was a lot of things that extended it, but everything between Earth, Wind, and Fire and the Isley Brothers and the stories and amazing. So
besides the fact that you didn't know who Ron Isley was.
First of all, I know who Ron Isley is. That did not look like Ron Isley from the last time I've seen. And I've seen Ron.
A lot of people didn't think that was him because the last time they seen him, he didn't have a beard.
Beard,
And
yeah.
if he did have one, it damn sure wasn't salt and pepper.
And I've seen the Isley Brothers live 3 times my whole life. And maybe when he went to jail for that year for tax evasion and came back, that's when he had the gray beard. But I did not think that was him at first. It looked
Hey,
completely
the
different.
ladies, obviously the ladies didn't know either. And I bet you his DMs blew up. The thing is, he's too old enough to know how to check them.
Does he even have his own social media accounts? Does Ronald Isley have his own social media accounts?
He better now because all them young 30-year-olds was out. They was on him.
I just want everyone to know that Haize had me thinking that I was bugging and had me going too. Like I was like, but isn't that Ron Isley there with the mink? And he's like, no, that's not him. And then I'm like, oh, I see that now. And it was like, no, I did not. Anyhow, yeah, that was part of our night. Yes, so I totally agree. Couldn't agree more with what you said about Steve Harvey. He really kind of fucked it up. I guess I do understand why they chose him to moderate it. And I guess I do also get why there was a need for a moderator because they weren't really sharing their story so willingly. I did feel like, Steve kind of had to pull it out of them. So I get that. But yes, he was making it about him too much, telling too many detailed stories of how he had to ride his bike for 3 miles to see a girl named Darlissa and blah, blah, and had to spend $8.75 on the record and then had 89 cents left over. And then he got a cheeseburger and a Coke. It was really terrible. I mean, it was that level of detail. And I literally was like doing the math in my head and was like, wait a minute, that shit doesn't even add up. But anyway, and yeah, so there was one, I don't know if you guys caught this because it was after the long ass intermission, which I also agree was way too damn long. Apparently he addressed Twitter. And then Swiss Beats had tweeted that he took him to the side or something. So I guess he must have said, like, people are tweeting that you're talking too much about yourself. And then he had said something, and I don't know, just drama, whatever. But yeah, I do feel like it took away from the night and the whole experience. But aside from that, yes, I mean, come on, they're legends. They could do no wrong. I loved how they got up, and although it did take Ron Isley a bit to realize he was supposed to get up, his brother got up like to 3 joints playing the guitar, and then he finally like ran over there with him, and it was like, yo, did somebody just tell him like, yo, you're supposed to be singing along? Like, it was a little weird. Another thing is, I guess they didn't realize that after 4 hours, you get kicked off of live because at the end of the night, that's exactly what happened. And they ended up having to tweet the footage from the Triller, coverage of it. But it was a beautiful moment. I mean, I regrettably was not awake for the live part of it because apparently Earth, Wind, and Fire and the Isley Brothers stay up later than I do. But
you had COVID, so.
What?
Yeah, COVID. So,
Well, don't be telling my business. But yeah. Yes. Maybe that had something to do with it. We'll blame that on it. But whatever it was, it really seemed like it was a beautiful moment. They all were like on stage together singing their classics.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing for me. The big takeaway was, goddamn, they had a lot of classics.
They could easily do another two verses.
More.
Yeah.
Seriously, because in the beginning I was like, yo, aren't they playing some of their bangers a little early? Like, they just are coming out swinging. But then it was like the bangers never stopped. It just was, so that was really dope too. They all still sound great, which is like, yo, amazing. Like, dude, Philip was hitting that falsetto like he did in 1970 from Earth, Wind, and Fire. And Ron Isley still sounds like Ron Isley. So it was great. It was great to see. And the last thing that I do want to share, though, is that there was some controversy around Ron Isley playing some of his joints with Ara Kelly. And I'm curious about what you guys think about that.
So,
y'all don't listen to R. Kelly anymore?
I don't. I and that's not no cap. I honestly have not played an R. Kelly song in over 3 years.
And Keith, honestly, and prior to that, I only had like 2 R. Kelly songs in my library, so it wasn't hard to get rid of those.
Yeah, that's after surviving R. Kelly. I couldn't do it. Like I legit can't. And I'm not like Baylor. R. Kelly was one of my faves of all time. Period. And so I had to just, I have daughters. Fuck that. I had to cut that shit out.
Okay. So my quick take. I'm gonna make it real quick. I think three things for me. Obviously, I agree with everything when it comes to Steve Harvey. I hated when D Nice cut the song short. That little lag and that shit killed me. You're fucking with us.
The first 5 songs from each group, so probably the first 10 songs, they played like half of a chorus, and then Steve Harvey's fucking stories were longer than the first 5 songs they were playing. It's like, what the fuck was that about? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I wanted that passion. 2, I'm sad. That music, and like you said, we can probably get a couple more verses out of this. That's music. When people played instruments, when songs were 7 minutes long and you enjoyed it, you felt it. Every word, every lyric, every melody meant something. And now we listen to what we listen to now, and it's like the soul is diluted. Yeah. And that bothers me. That hurts my soul. And again, this is why this is going to be one of those episodes that kind of gets to me, because all the topics that we're going to be talking about. But and I think I said this too. I hate hearing commercials with these songs, because these commercials are like lighthearted things, but to kind of take away from the emotion of what I felt when I first heard those songs. Now, remember, I grew up a little, I was younger when I heard these songs, but my parents listened to them. But when you listen to them and pay attention to the words, not just hear them, it's like, holy fuck, this is masterful. Like, this is what we need. We need Marvin Gaye. We need music like this, because there is no real connection or appreciation for what the art is. So that kills me. I went back. Obviously, I went and played, digging in the crates, started listening to this shit again. I'm like, yo, this is soul. This is what soul is, not grabbing my dick. Let me play with that pussy, jiggle them titties, body hot. No, this is real love shit. You know what I'm saying? So
you went to
the
wait,
you dropped that. I thought you were.
Why can I see that be a song for real? Like
so stay tuned for my mixtape.
You didn't have no foreplay to that. You went straight to it, grabbing my dick. I'm like,
my mixtape coming out after this this episode.
Jeez.
So okay, here's the question I want to present to the group. We've had a couple of verses now with the older acts. Would you like to see like it, like for a while there, like maybe next 5 verses it'd be all legendary acts, like not new, not even the 90s, not even 2000s. Do you want to go back to 80s and 70s artists for the ones that we still have with us?
I'm 38, so I didn't look at it like it was, I'm not saying that you're saying this, but I didn't look at it as a special edition. This is music that I still listen to.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
for the generation now,
yeah,
I don't care about them, because you just said it, like, bro, this music is this music is phenomenal. Live instruments. This is like the season that you put in the food.
Yes,
to make it taste better.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I don't give a shit what they think. You know what I mean? And then I'll even shoot Steve Harvey some bail. Again, he talked a little goddamn too much, but you know what? That nigga was excited. He was excited.
That's
you know what I mean?
Okay. That's
you
fair.
Know what I mean?
That's fair.
And the thing is, but I'm not. He shouldn't have to talk that long. But it felt like, and it was no COVID restrictions. You know what I mean? I think it would have been a little bit bad if it was a gang of masks going on and shit like that. But nah, man, I think he was just overly excited to be there and to be the host and stuff like that. And honestly, outside of him, there's not too many people that I would pick for them to host that.
Yeah,
I thought he was the perfect host. I just think he did a little too much, and I think he did a little too much because he was excited.
Smokey Robinson should have hosted it.
Ooh, that would have been nice, because they would have had stories together. Probably.
Yeah,
that would have been nice.
Well, he need his own fade though.
Not for nothing, who should have hosted? Patti LaBelle.
Ooh,
because
she would have got the stories out of them.
We talked about this, I think, last week, right? Or the week before, where there was a clubhouse like 2 weeks ago that they all happened to be in. a clubhouse club, and Patti LaBelle really, as soon as she got in there, she was just like, "Is Ron Isley in here?" And like the way they regarded each other, it was just so beautiful. And before we all hung up, they were like, "Notice how I said we all because we were all on the phone." Um, Basically, like they were like, "I love you." Like it was really beautiful. So I'm sure there would have been some stories there too. Like,
You know what? Since we picking legendary people, I'm gonna go left on this one, and I'm gonna go either Morgan Freeman or Samuel L. Jackson.
Wow.
yo, that would have been crazy.
No, you know who I would. And this is gonna
You
be
know,
this.
motherfucker.
This is gonna be left. You know, honestly, who I would have loved to see host this, and I think would have been entertaining and musically would have had the same excitement of Steve Harvey. Snoop Dogg would have been amazing to host this.
You right?
Mm.
Oh yeah. You
Especially
right
since
on
he
that one. I like
sampled a
that one.
lot of their
That's
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah, that would have been dope.
Yeah, his stories would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a quick question for you.
Okay.
What one musician would you love to see tell their stories and do a verses?
Even though I have him second, I'm no disrespect, but I would love to hear Prince.
Me too.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
think we
second.
all. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's an MJ guy.
I'm an MJ guy.
Stevie Wonder for me.
Oh yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
that's who we have left.
And the
I think
reason
he's the
why I
greatest
say that
musician
is
of all
that
time.
one of the most interesting things about Stevie Wonder for me is the fact that this man is blind, and not only does he play, I think like 10 or 12 instruments,
Taylor, you think that's a hoax?
but but he
Hey, you sing when that mic fails.
but
man.
he not only writes music for him, which is easy. Like to think about being blind is easy to like compose music for yourself, but to write music for other people and not be able to actually write it down for them to compose music for other people, I would love to hear the story of what goes into that.
Maybe he's legally
Record.
blind.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my
Have y'all ever seen Stevie Wonder without his glasses?
No.
Yeah, I have.
It's undeniable that he's blind because it's like all white irises.
So then what is? Then what was that?
Baylor just
Yo.
I have. But
I'll say this.
that clip that they showed when that mic failed and that nigga looked down.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
But you can feel.
I know. I'm
around
just
you,
saying. I'm
This is
just
what I'll
saying.
say. The motherfucker rewrote the birthday song.
exactly.
Yeah.
Who could do that? Who could do that? He's the greatest musician of all time to me.
That's
sorry.
me too. I say the same thing all the time.
Yeah, I agree. That would be dope. I wonder why they haven't got him yet.
Come on. I think I read, and it could have completely been a rumor. I don't think it's substantiated, but the reason why he's not in the public eye as much is that he's battling slight dementia.
Oh no. Him.
This is one of those episodes.
Yeah.
I know we're losing, and then
Oh,
Tina,
shit.
like we're losing everyone. Anyway,
But all right, anything else on the verses before we go? Well, not go, but move on to the next
I'm
one.
looking forward to SWV and Escape.
So
Team Escape
Yes.
in house.
the whole, if they broke the 112, Drew Hill, we were talking about this, that'd be dope. To answer that question, should they do like a legacy
They did that
edition?
already, though. They did.
No, I'm talking about like the 112, the Drew Hill, all of them. You know what I mean? Like bring that whole battle, Jagged Edge, all of them. That'd be cool. But the one thing I would say, I wouldn't want a
112
legacy edition.
It was 112 and
And
Jagged Edge.
And Jagged
But the one
Edge,
thing that I
yeah.
would say, and this may get me crucified, Drew Hill's music aged like shit. Besides like 5 songs.
You can't
Don't
say
do
that.
that. Don't do that.
Okay, because we just sang the whole
Because
damn.
I said except for like 5 songs. Except for like 5 songs.
Beauty is one of
Beauty
those
is
five?
absolutely. Beauty is my favorite
5
Drew Hill song.
steps?
5 steps.
5 sleeping in my bed.
Sleeping in my bed.
Remix.
Keep
Come
going.
on, you can't keep going. That's what I'm saying.
No, because mine.
No,
This is the time.
I might have some
Yeah,
personal
these
ones.
are the
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's 4 right
That's
there.
4.
And then wasn't there? Tell me what you want from me.
See that?
Hey.
Oh no, the one from Rush Hour, the Rush Hour soundtrack. Okay,
Satisfied.
yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
no,
look.
April showers. Come on. Never make a promise.
No,
Come
never
on,
make a
bro.
promise
Yeah.
does not age good to
Yes.
me.
Don't do that.
All
Don't do
along.
that, Hayes.
No.
Don't do that, Hayes.
Make a promise.
Hey, can
All
we
along.
throw the
Yeah, bro.
can
No.
we throw
We
the
ain't
thong
doing this,
song
bro.
in there?
We ain't doing this.
No,
Hey,
we're not throwing the stocks. Come on, bro.
hey, did y'all hear
The
the story
Cisco's
about
catalog challenge.
did y'all hear the story about Tyson not liking the thong song?
What?
No. What was that?
Hey, Cisco was at a party. Cisco was at a
In what
party and
world does
Tyson was
that come
there.
up where Mike Tyson is talking about the thong song?
I don't
I like your
I
song
don't
song.
I don't think Tyson didn't tell a story. It was someone else.
Song song.
And they said, and I think he was talking to Cisco, and Cisco was like, "Is he looking over here?" And he was like, "Yeah, he's still looking over here." And he said he don't like the thong song at all.
The thong
But
thong.
you got to picture him saying thong though.
I know.
Oh, that's probably why he don't
Thong
like it.
thong and thong.
He was probably trying to sing it one day. It was like, this motherfucker.
I need a dad joke. Go ahead. Come on,
And
man.
it'll pop up.
Okay.
All right,
I'm sorry,
let's
Marquis.
be
Yeah, I
serious.
completely sidetracked your thing with the Drew Hill thing. Go ahead, man.
Let's be
No,
serious.
what I oh shit. What I was saying is I don't think there should be Legacy Edition. No, you can't throw a bunch of 5 old school artists or from the 70s because I think you'll lose people. It has to be kind of a mesh. You know what I mean? I think it has
I
to stay
agree.
that way to be
I
consistent.
mean, for us, sure, but yeah, I
You don't
think
want to
that
lose your audience.
Yeah.
But to Hayes' point, if you have someone that's like, that was during our generation, but also close to theirs, like a Snoop, it might help bring in
Hosting.
a yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.